Hello everybody, thank you for joining us for this session about how to create non-privileged SSH accounts using the VMware ESX4 Service Console. VMware has recently introduced some new security policies on the 4.1 Service Console that will now prevent you from logging in the old way if you've upgraded from previous versions of 4.1 using PuTTY and SSH. And in this session we'll review the steps on how to restore that functionality so that you can still work within the Service Console using SSH-based utilities. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we can get access to the configuration file, we must first get access to the out-of-band management console. This console will give us basically the same type of screen and functionality as if we were actually standing in front of the server. So here you can see we're logged into the out-of-band management controller, and one of the options at the top here is remote control, so we'll click on that and we'll launch the remote console. So as you can see here, we have an out-of-band management console displayed here for you, and one of the first steps, and we're going to assume that you don't already have a user account created. We're going to go through the steps of creating a user account, and then we'll go through the steps of how to re-enable SSH Login. So let's go ahead and create a test user, and that's exactly what we'll call it to begin with. We'll use the user add command, and we'll just call this test user 1. And we'll go ahead and assign a password to this test user. Okay, so now that we have our test user set up, the next step is to VI into the SSH config file, and we'll use the VI utility here, and that configuration file is located under the etc folder under SSH, and the file name is called sshd_config. So as you can see here, we're now viewing our SSH service configuration file, and as we scroll down here, one thing to point out is there is a option here for permit root login. By default it's set to no, and I know that in the past, especially if you've gone through upgrades, you may have enabled this. It's definitely recommended to keep this set to no, because if you set it to yes, then of course any SSH login will grant the ability to log in as root, and that may expose your ESX host to unnecessary security risks. So if this is set to yes, you can go ahead and change this to no. In order to edit this file, first what we have to do is hit the Shift-I button, and you can see that the insert command has appeared at the bottom. Now we're in editing mode. We can go ahead and modify this just like we're in a notepad or a WordPad type of application. So my value is already set to no, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue to page down until I come to the section about PAM, and this is really where the settings have changed from previous versions. As you can see, by default we're using PAM as an option here. Simply to get around this issue of not being able to log in with PuTTY anymore, we just simply have to turn off PAM. That's certainly one way to do it. Now of course, again, keep in mind this is a very, very straightforward, easy way to restore SSH functionality. Again, you have to always take into consideration the effect that this is going to have with regards to your internal company security policy, so please keep that in mind. But for this demonstration, we can now turn off PAM, and in order to commit these changes, let's go ahead and just hit the escape key, hit the colon key, and do a WQ bang symbol or an exclamation point to write the file and to quit the file. Okay, so now that our configuration changes have been written, the last step is to go ahead and restart the SSHD service so that that new configuration change is read into the service. Okay, So now that we've made that modification, we should now be able to log in with the test user account. And the best way to go about this, assuming that you disabled root login, is to now putty in using that new test user account and using the su space dash command, which will give you a root login prompt. Of course, you have to know the root login password, and then you'll be able to access all of the executive level or privilege level commands within the host.